Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Thing. This is the UBports community update. We do this every 2 weeks, and apparently this is our first time. This episode is 19, streamed live on December 23rd, 2017. And we have an extra special episode for the holidays.
Ooh.
And that's why I can't do the intro, apparently. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week are Jan.
Aloha.
Flo.
Hello.
And Marius.
Hello.
Okay, now that the intro is out of the way, let's actually get this done.
Okay, so our first yay for this is OTA 3 is out. Whew.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually does just say yay in the show notes, nothing else.
Yeah, but we have as we said last time, because a lot of hiccups with PPA shutting down for Vivid, and they moved the archive over to old releases, and that took most of the time actually for actual development. So none of the development, there has been less development than actually gone on, and also at the same time we are doing it parallel with Senior.
Wow, that was one sentence.
pretty much, yeah.
You just covered like 2 months of development time in a sentence.
Yeah, it has been hectic, I have to say, but the thing is that the changelog is probably shorter than what we ever expected, but that's, as I said, it's because of the infrastructure that we're hanging around that has been taking probably 90% of the time, and then we have Senior at the same time. So it has been a lot, but now it's finally out and we can focus on our development instead of focusing on the infrastructure.
But to be fair, if you know how much work every single one of these issues involved, then the list is actually not that short. Like if you look at the Fairphone 2 camera module, that was a ton of work, a ton, and you just think, oh yeah, they fixed the camera. That's like one line. No, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
So the last
That
fixes
was
for
changing a ton of libraries in
Yeah.
Ubuntu Touch. That was
And
that
you
was
don't
scary,
only have to
actually.
fix it for the new Fairphone 2. You also have to make sure it still works on the old one. So there's a lot of work actually involved in this, and a lot of testing, and just, oh yeah, it still doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't work again, and this broke and that broke. So
It was fun. It was a good time fixing that camera. But I can't take credit for that. That was not me.
Okay.
What?
No.
What?
What? No.
what's going on?
Let's continue.
He's
What's
in
going
a
on?
Hyperloop. No, but maybe we would say thanks to everyone for being patient, for waiting for the OTA 3. We got a lot of demand, and people were asking again and again when it's ready. We shifted again and again, but everybody kept himself patient and expecting, and I think still it was good that we were able to give it before Christmas, and so everyone can try on the Christmas holidays with the new OTA. And of course, if there is something not working after the OTA, which can happen, please report it. We have already some reports here about weird things with radio and Wi-Fi going on, which is not very sure. But keep up reporting what you have, and tell us if something is not how you expect it. Yeah, and also with this OTA, we changed the push server. This is a little bit my part. So I can say now, yeah, this worked pretty well. Everybody should be now on the new push server that is running on our infrastructure. So any notifications you would get from mostly 90% is Telegram, but also a few other 1 or 2 things could use it. You need to switch to our version, of course, of Ubuntu Touch, and also to our OTA 3 to be able to receive push notifications from now on. Just saying in case that the message didn't come through on the other channels. I mean, we rotated this now nearly 24/7. Push server is going away, push server is going away, but now it's really gone. So I can see there are roughly a few hundred devices permanently online. So basically, a lot of people have successfully moved But of course, there is room to go. So convert and update as many devices as you have. We want to see some load on this push server, yeah, because currently it's a little bit bored still.
Okay.
Any other big features any of you want to talk about?
What everyone will notice definitely is that the Ubuntu store is now gone. So if you don't know even what that is, because probably nobody used it anymore, that's the big orange rectangle on the bottom of the home screen. So it used to be the official app store. Now we go open store all the way. Yeah, with that we also have some speed improvements on the home screen, because the Ubuntu store was actually very tightly integrated. I think it was more than 5,000 lines of code that got removed with this one. So it's a little faster, a little more snappy.
Yeah, that was a huge pull request that came through when that got removed.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed with how integrated it was. There was a lot of work on that.
I call it bloated, but there was a lot of unnecessary code in there. But now it's gone, and you can live happily ever after with OpenStore. I think this is a big thing, is because also what people really praise us for is that you don't need to log in to download applications. And this is a thing Canonical really didn't do, where you have to use a Ubuntu One account to actually download applications, and now you can just flash install and download applications without needing to give your credentials out, which is a really big plus.
However, we should say that in order to get notifications on Telegram or the other apps that are supported by our push server, you do need to be logged in with Ubuntu One on your phone.
Yeah, we are working on getting rid of that because there's no benefit of it, as far as I know. So.
Well, for now, the benefit is that no one can steal your account and no one can spoof it and then get your messages. So if that's the benefits,
right.
I don't know what that's.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
But we will probably find a different way of doing it. It's just you need some form of.
But that's should be handled by Telegram, though. You log in with Telegram, and Telegram sends the information to.
I think this is a discussion that we need to have with people who work on the Ubuntu Touch server.
Okay, so let's continue. Let's actually do what went well and what didn't go that well from OTA3. So should we go with the bad first? What didn't go so well this time, and what do we need to? What have we learned actually? So anyone want to raise a hand and say something here?
Well, something we learned, I think, is that you shouldn't deploy during holiday season, because you will end up doing a lot of work during holiday season, and that's not something you want to do. And you also don't want to have last-minute changes if you want to deploy in holiday season. So
we did a lot of QA work right before the OTA3 release.
Yeah, just because stuff was not ready yet, but we wanted to get it out before Christmas, because we thought if we don't do it, it will be delayed until mid of January at least, and we really wanted to get this one out now, so we can move along. Yeah, that's definitely something we need to do different next time.
Yeah, I fully agree on that. But I think else than that, I think this release went actually pretty well. Not much issues that actually has come up. So actually, I think we all need to say it was a great job. And I think actually, in the end, when you're looking back at it, it went really well. And this just shows that we actually can handle this. Even though there are hiccups, we need to keep in mind that that these kind of things are incredibly hard to do. But I think we did handle it pretty well. and everyone got their updates. And
Well, I think we also need to give a huge thank you to everyone who pitched in to help us make this happen. To all of our translators, to everyone who worked on, well, even the people who've been working with me on documentation, including Jan. All of it really came together, and now we have a release with more translations. There was a keyboard thing that unfortunately couldn't make it in, so we're sorry to those guys. We will get that out in our next update. But everyone who contributed, you're really helping us out, so thank you.
Yeah, everyone, we absolutely love this community, and to see this grow the way it does, and now we have our third release. It's absolutely amazing to watch. So really, thank you, everyone. Okay, so let's move away from OTA 3 now. I think we have covered that pretty well. Let's do a year in review. Where we come from, where did we start? Where did this all start? I think that's, well, where did this start? What happened in February? I think that's what we should do. What
was it? February? I thought it was January already.
January. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's when the year starts. That's right.
We will make a new counting of time. Our year will start always with March, because then it was when Canonical dropped the OS. So this is
that was in April.
Or April, okay, March to April.
I think we need to contact our historian here. Just let me call him just 1 second.
So let's start a year on April. So this will be our year 0, and from there we count down, and it will confuse everybody. No.
Yeah.
Right. So
let's do it.
At the beginning of this year, in January through April, it was a bit of a harder time for us because Canonical had just announced that they were freezing the Ubuntu Touch project until Ubuntu Core was viable for use by everyone. And that led to a lot of confusion in the community and a lot of questions. Is Ubuntu Touch dead? Are you guys done? Are you guys... And we're like, no, we're still here. We're still working on this. Don't leave. And that came up to in April. It was April 3rd or 4th, was it?
April 4th, yeah,
actually. When Canonical officially announced on the Insights blog, geez, what was even the name of the blog post? Growing Ubuntu for IoT and servers, wasn't it?
Yeah, rather than phones and convergence. Yeah.
Phones and convergence. Man, that was the day. I remember exactly when that blog post came out. I was at work, like freaking out at work because it's like, what do we do now?
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, I needed.
I think Alan Pope was the one who sent the link to our Telegram group, and everyone was like, "Is this a late April Fool's joke? Is this for real? Like, what's going to happen now?" And in the beginning, there was a lot of open questions still. Like, we didn't know. Okay, does this mean? Is this the same like the announcement in January? What exactly does this mean? Does this mean it's really over? And that's what it meant apparently, but we kept going and
we refused to let it die.
Yeah.
And I mean, it became kind of a meme at the time because it's like, oh yeah, when anyone drops an open source project, it never dies. It just keeps on going. Why can't we ever get rid of anything in open source? But we also saw a lot of changing ideas about Unity 8 and what Ubuntu Phone means, especially over the year as Google has continued to make questionable decisions with Android and Apple continues being Apple, I guess.
Yeah, I think when that happened for me, I think it was... to be honest, at first it was really negative at first, but I think when we got some days into it and people came back to themselves in one way or another, I think we actually realized that this actually can work, and this actually can make a product that is fully community backed, that is not uh, commercialized in one way. In this way, we have a product that we don't make it to make money. We make it to give to people and to give people a choice and to give people freedom. And that's just a whole different value in a product for me at least, and I think for many others is the same. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
we did. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
We did see a lot of that, even as we continued to listen to podcasts at the time. I think it was around May, June when Late Night Linux went online. Actually, I don't remember when Late Night Linux started again. Linux Action News, and they were all covering us, and they said, they really didn't think much of it when it was Canonicals, but now that the community had it, they were getting a lot more respect for it. So that was really important to us right there in the
project.
Sorry,
because now the decisions are really made by everyone and not just one company. So it really helped us not to criticize Canonical too much, because they did great work. We wouldn't be here without Canonical.
We wouldn't be anywhere near here without them.
Yeah, definitely. We are not here to. We don't hate Canonical at all. We absolutely loved Canonical, and we respect their decision and why they made it. So that's we don't have anything for Canonical. We still use Ubuntu as a core. We need to keep that in mind. We actually getting quite a lot of changes on Xenial that comes from the core product, or Ubuntu Minimal, I think it's called. And we need to really keep that in mind, that even though Canonical isn't directly developing it, it is developing underneath, and most of the components that actually is in Ubuntu Touch right now, it's still maintained. It's mostly just the high level or touch specific parts that is unmaintained, or not unmaintained anymore, but maintained by us. So we really need to keep that in mind.
So as that all started, we had to get to work. So who did we call? KDE Plasma Mobile.
I really thought you were going to say Ghostbusters. But...
Didn't you, though? I kind of wanted to, but that wasn't going to go anywhere. So we got together with Plasma Mobile and anyone else who would listen. Was LuneOS in the initial meetings?
Yes, the Halium meetings, yes.
Lune and Plasma Mobile. Was Mur there yet?
No, I think we mostly have just us. I think with LuneOS, Plasma Mobile, and Ubuntu Touch, but mostly driven by Ubuntu Touch and Plasma Mobile.
So we all got together and we created this little thing called Halium. Mm-hmm. And that has been progressing over the year incredibly well as well.
Yeah.
And Halium is a standardized... My phone keeps rebooting. A standardized hardware abstraction platform for Linux distributions to use, for Android devices specifically. So one person ports Halium, and then you can run Ubuntu Touch, Plasma Mobile, LuneOS with some changes. They aren't, well, we aren't either. Plasma Mobile is the only one who actually uses Halium completely correctly.
Well,
for the moment. But
for the moment,
we have the same stuff as they are working, because they don't have camera support and those stuff that we need. So technically, we have the same support for it right now, but we still have a long way to go to actually implement the core and standardize the camera. We still have discussion going on. What to even use for camera, if we going the Droid Media.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. That's all. We're coming up to today again.
Yeah, it's but that's all. That's for 2016 to decide, when we actually get more power going on Xenial, because Xenial will be the only base that actually will use Halium. We won't be porting that to Vivid. So
right. Geez, where do we go from there? We created Halium. We have
And OTA 2 went out. I think we have before that OTA 1 went out, but that was mostly rebranding.
We're not going off of a calendar or anything. We're just
No. We're going off of memory. OTA 2 come out with a bunch of fixes. I think that was the biggest release yet. And then we build up our infrastructure. Canonical took away the Vivid stuff of it. We did expect that to happen, but we didn't expect it to happen that fast. So we had to redefine our infrastructure again, or our CI infrastructure, and change a lot of URLs.
So that we could
and-
build packages, and that was a lot of the work in going into OTA 2 was getting continuous integration running so that we can build all of these packages and be sure that they're in our image, rather than hoping that Marius is going to push it sometime today.
And after that, we have to do it again because they removed the Vivid support. So that's all fine now. We are out of that. We can now focus on what we actually are good at, which is development. So that's.
I think you're selling yourself a little taller. I mean,
Dalton. Well, fast forward to today. We now have our own push notification server. We have a full system image working, automation, CII infrastructure, everything that we have now set up for today. And now we also today we will release one of the biggest things since I think the biggest thing since math was created. Something around those.
Hold it still. We are not quite there. We have a few more items.
We are not quite there.
Not quite there.
We are teasing you guys.
So that's our year in review. Hopefully it made sense to some of you. Hopefully it was interesting content. Let us know.
But also
Seriously,
we have one last thing we actually also looking forward for. We had this year, which was also we hit a really big milestone. We hit 1,000 users on Telegram, which is huge. Our community has grown so much, so we don't want to forget this. This is important. Our community is now amazing, and this is thank you to all you guys out there. And this really goes from the bottom of my heart. I really mean thank you guys.
Yeah, and let's not forget about the sponsorships that we've earned and all of the support that's come in from Patreon and now LibrePay. It's been huge. It's meant that Marius can work on it full time. It's meant that we can bring people on. We can easily show them, hey, you see how much support we've got? Yeah, you want to work with us because we can do this together.
Yeah, I think so. But okay, that was 2017. Let's do some.
We applied for the foundation. Don't forget the foundation business.
The foundation, the thing. Yes.
I mean, this is a big thanks to Jan because he was digging for all the papers besides the other work he has done for the project and keeping in touch with our consultant and so on to get all these papers filed.
As well as our sponsors that have helped us with
500 revisions and so on, and to discuss everything. So this is also some achievement, some milestone that we were able to file it this year because time was running. And I think some people even were thinking, they will never apply for this, so this will never work. And I think we can show today that we really got, even with some delay, around the most problems of startup now. And we are heading for running operations out of the startup problems that we had. And this is a big achievement in under 1 year because, to be honest, we really got serious in April, and now we have December, so this is 8 months, and we achieved everything more or less in 8 months, where you would think that could take 1 to 2 years maybe. And this is a huge boost, and it's a huge advantage compared to other organizations or other communities that came out of such a situation. I mean, probably other communities did the same. They tried to catch what was falling down from somebody who left off or so. But we had really good conditions this year. So I think 8 months is really something that is notable for all the work that was happening. And partially also, of course, that's the reason why not all the wishes and targets that we had would be fulfilled on the first try or on the first release of this or that. But I think it will get better in 2018.
Jeez, it's only been 8 months.
Yes, think about it.
Isn't that amazing?
It's a hell of a ride, to be honest, because also for me, my circle of friends and people I know exploded to, I don't know, 150 people in my Telegram list. Some people pinging me with some questions. I try to answer everything. So it's really grown out of a now and then, let's look what they are doing. And for me, it was changing from being someone who followed UBports to someone who is part of it in also record time. Because before, I mean, I was maybe around last year in 2016 a little bit here and there, posting in the forums.
Yeah, you welcomed me to the Telegram group saying, hey, welcome to the rabbit hole.
Yes. And then suddenly this was full throttle. Yeah? So I must say, maybe Marius already was a little bit in this business, but for me, it came out of nothing. So 8 months was a hell of a ride. Yeah? But thanks to everyone, and thanks to you guys also, and all the community guys, I still enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay, have we made it to the present day?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Whew.
Okay.
That was a ride.
Let's bring out our magic ball, my imaginary magic ball, and do some prediction.
Yes, we're going to do what every podcast does.
Okay, since you are so positive, Dalton, let's start with you. What's your
we're going to have predictions for 2018. I had one, but now I don't remember.
I predict that sometime along 2018, Dalton will remember, and we'll already
what his prediction for 2018 was.
Okay, well, while he is thinking about it, let's ask Jan. What's your prediction for 2018?
Sorry, that was my clock.
Let's skip Jan. Let's go to me. Okay.
We're good at this.
So my prediction for 2018, I would definitely go more on the way of we will reach Senial. We will definitely reach Senial in 2018. I think that's my prediction. Yeah, Senial will reach at least a really, really, really good stable branch. I think this will happen early in 2018. So that's my prediction. Dalton.
And we're going to do it, and everyone's going to say, "Hey, what about 1804?" It's exactly what's going to happen. I can call it from now.
Should we cover that again? I think we talked about that already in the past.
No, let's not. We've talked about it before.
Okay, Dalton, do you remember?
Short story.
I predict that we are going to see a lot more ports in Halium and a ton of new features, possibly a multi-boot solution.
Ooh.
For Halium OSs only.
Ooh. Florian.
I go to the non-technical side, and I predict that we will get a lot of invitations from, let's say, some Linux magazines online or offline, or Linux-related press, to talk with them what we are doing. I think press will get curious because we created some noise ourselves, and also our marketing will kick in on this. And I think we will get more press coverage and more possibilities to speak about the project, maybe also on some conferences and such things. So for me, it's like bringing the message to the people will increase, hopefully, brackets, dramatically in 2018.
Jan.
Me again, okay. Well, I think we're going to get better at being compatible with Linux applications, standard Linux applications. we see some work going on right now with Qt Quick controls and custom theming, so we can apply zero theming to more standard applications, and that way we can hopefully end the separate ecosystem that we have at the moment. So converge the two worlds essentially.
And we're going to see a lot of work on Mir. That means that we'll have Wayland clients, and it's going to be big there. We might be able to run actual Wayland apps easily.
That's a big thing, definitely. Yeah.
So that's also my prediction. Way more apps that we actually can run on our platform. I think that's already also something that's also not that far off, as Dalton just said. Mir already has Wayland support, so that's pretty awesome, where we can actually run native application without needing Xmir or whatever. So that's pretty cool. I will also add one more thing. I also predict that Foundation will get approved.
Well, hopefully that will not
Marius
take
looks
that long.
over to show notes.
Short piece of update on that one. It is the paperwork is all filed. It's all depends on the government now. So it will take a while for them to look through it and then to approve it, and maybe they have questions, and maybe we have to get back to them. But it's in progress. So. It will
I want to say that it's not a real prediction because nobody can stop the German government or what. If it's filed, then it's in the track, and then it will move. No, but be serious. It could still fail. Yeah, there's a probability, of course. So we count it as a light prediction. Yeah, it has a high probability, so it's not totally out of the glass bowl. But still, let's predict it. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's not think about what could happen. Let's think about what's going to happen, and it's going to be great. We're going to get the foundation.
Yes.
Are we done with our prediction, or anyone has anyone?
I don't know. Let's look at the show notes.
Okay, let's do that.
Jan wrote some down. That's why I keep saying that. Predict this one, Dalton. Way to go off script. This isn't scripted, everyone.
You don't read those lines, Dalton. That's for you to know. That's not.
You should put a comment header on it. You need like 2 slashes or a pound sign. Otherwise, the compiler reads everything. Come on.
So to everyone, you can see that this is not scripted as you would think, but rather every word that we are speaking, we are rehearsing multiple times. So it's a fully staged and scripted thing. We're actually having no fun here, despite we are always smiling. No,
this is serious business right here.
So we're trying to prepare us mostly, but we let a lot of improvisation going on, because I think it's much more open-minded to say, we speak about how we are thinking, and we don't want to stage everything. And this is not a mission-critical thing if we forget 1 or 2 predictions. But yes, we made a small list.
Okay.
So, but basically the list is more or less finished, right? I mean,
yes. Let's go to a big surprise. Oh.
And it's over.
You have to do it slower. Nobody can see this.
Wait, what does that say? What is that header bar? Are you running an Android phone here? What's going on?
What does this say? Is this WhatsApp on our Ubuntu Touch phone?
You're a terrible person.
Is this what I think it is? Is this Android application on an Ubuntu Touch phones? Huh?
What was the name of it?
The answer is yes.
Anbox. So here, look at this. I have a lot of Android applications on my Ubuntu Touch phone. Ooh.
So this is one of the most highly talked about, requested, and discussed features that we've ever looked at. And I mean disgust.
There is a lot of discussion around this. So finally,
But finally, we can say,
done it.
yes, we're doing it.
We
After
are
it
doing
was-
it. It does work, and I will. It's not okay. We need to say this. It's not a finished product yet. It's still under development. So this will take some time before it actually is usable. Right now, it is usable in that sense that you can open an application and send test messages with on Telegram and you know on WhatsApp and Telegram and all this, play Candy Crush and all those things that you can do. But there are still problems like you can't have camera support is not added yet, GPS and all these things that uses hardware is not implemented yet. So what actually it's doing here is running a little Android version inside a container. And also, when I say it's containerized, that means that none of the application have actually hardware support at all. No hardware support whatsoever. So that will say that if you tell an application, I only want this application to have camera access, that application will only have camera access. So this is huge in that way that it's so much more containerized and so much secure than actually running on native hardware, since it's running on a layer on top, and it's also doesn't hurt the performance. It hurts the performance a little bit, but that's not noticeable since it actually runs really smoothly. And
All right, so let's back up a little bit. What is that running on right now?
That's running on Xenial.
Okay, so all Xenial phones?
No.
We're
Sadly, this requires, first of all, it requires power. And second of all,
it requires speed.
It requires a little bit of speed because it's not the easiest thing to run. And second of all, it does require kernel changes. Since what we do is actually, to get more technical, if you know what a binder is an Android-specific messaging system. And since we already run a small Halium layer, which runs on uses binder, what we need to do is make a second binder that Anbox gets for himself. So that needs to be added. And also it requires...
that is in the kernel, correct?
That's in the kernel.
Mm-hmm.
And same in the kernel, we need other kernel configs to make this work. The same kernel config you will need for Snap. Many of them are pretty similar. So yes, I see now. I have a feeling that this will be shit for BQ phones. Sadly, it won't support the BQ phones that we have now. Maybe in the future if someone actually does the porting for it, but right now we focus mostly on the core devices and our more powerful hardware. But when it's more optimized and the Anbox, it might run a bit slower later, not slower, but run a bit.
We'll upgrade it.
Yeah, when it runs smoother and it's more developed, because not right now it's really early in development. So later it might actually be that we can actually do it on other phones too, or lower hardware. But this is then a big surprise, or Christmas special, I would say.
Our holiday special.
So also, if you have any questions about this, throw it in here now. Now is the time to ask questions.
So let's just share the plan how this is going to go down real quick. So within the next 2 weeks, we are going to release instructions on how to test the proof of concept build Marius created. Now I think for now you only worked on the on the Pro 5 and on the Mesa Pro 5. We will have instructions for the core devices soon. We can't promise it immediately, but at least on the Pro 5, the proof of concept will come first, and then you will have to, you will be able to test it on more and more devices as time passes by. It only works on Xenial, so that's one limiting factor. First, it needs some.
Stop playing Candy Crush.
But it's so cool. I'm playing Candy Crush on a Ubuntu Touch phone. Oh my god!
So as Marius said, it needs some kernel patches for systemd, for snaps, but actually Xenial will come to all phones because Xenial can also work with
Xenial we're continuing to use Upstart.
Yeah, we'll continue to use Upstart, so it can still work on all phones. So all phones we have at the moment, also the legacy devices, will get Xenial, but will not be able to run snaps.
Just give it a second. I think we have to stress that this is a change of expectation for the people.
Yeah.
Because before we always said, okay, we cannot upgrade the legacy devices, especially BQ devices, to Xenial, and they will stay on Vivid and they will slowly phase out. But this is also something that we spoke about maybe already a little bit, to change this, but now it's more or less fixed, or we decided to do it in this way, that we can also give Xenial to the older devices because we move to Upstart again, let's say, or not again, but we modify the system so that it runs with Upstart instead of systemd, and this gives us the chance to continue using the already ported stuff for these devices. So this is also not such a small message to the people outside, that will bring them on the LTS release, and we can support the old phones for a longer period than we thought.
Yeah.
So hail to Xenial, hail Xenial.
Yeah, especially the infrastructure changes at Canonical side when they shut down the Vivid repos really showed us that we have to go down this road. We have to bring Xenial.
We have to move
devices.
like now.
Yeah. So that's why OTA 3 is going to be the last release on Vivid, but we will have Xenial for all supported devices at the moment. So if you're using a legacy device right now, don't be afraid. We are not going to leave you behind. Also, the reason why you're not getting snaps and Anbox is not that we don't want to give it to you. It's because we can't. It's impossible. But for the future, for the phones that we, for the new devices that will come in the future, we will make sure that we can do it for all of them. But yeah, if you have a core device actually, or if you want to buy a Nexus 5, for example, those are super cheap, and that will be able to run this pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, of course, we get the question right away. What's the recommended phone?
If I will add to this, I will say for this is definitely the phone with more space and power in that way.
Is that the OnePlus One?
The OnePlus One is definitely a good choice, but also the Pro 5 is also, if you can find it, it's also a good choice for this. So to run Anbox, all of them, all of the core devices should handle this just fine. But at least now in the beginning, I think it's better to have more power, since it is a bit under development, which means that there is some hiccups here and there. So yeah, more power. OnePlus One, I think that's a great choice for this. Or I'm saying that Nexus 5 and Fairphone 2 won't handle it. I think they will handle it just fine. It's just that in the beginning. But if you're looking for a long-term device, any of the core devices are perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Whew. Wow. We just did that.
We just did that.
Oh, no, we didn't.
Okay. Should you guys
Where do we
add
go
some,
from there?
Questions.
we go right to the questions.
We go to questions. How do we follow that up, man? First question, just so that we don't move too far from it. I do see in here, will you release the instructions? Yeah. Yep,
Super.
that's coming out within the next couple weeks.
Yep. We are timelining within two weeks to have this out.
So we're releasing during the holiday season is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, it won't be... Okay, I'm not saying release. I'm saying debug. To be able to run this on Devil.
Right. It is very much in development. It is just like 1604 itself is right now.
And we can't make an educated guess on when we will be able to really release this as stable and when it will be ready for end users. So Marius, you can say something if you want to.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm running Spotify, which is pretty cool. And the reason why I wanted this is so we can actually hear the sound working.
Don't get us muted.
Is that copyrighted?
Don't get our stream taken down,
It
please.
is. It's copyrighted.
Even if it's copyrighted. No, you can play the first 4 to 5 seconds. You can play without paying. This is no problem. If you have only 5 seconds on air, then we are fine.
But this is YouTube. This is not a lawful area.
Come on. Oh, okay. Let's go to questions.
Let's go.
So the first one, camera and video playback is weird on Hammerhead, the Nexus 5. Should we mark that somewhere?
What
are we talking about bugs right now?
We are talking about bugs. Flo put it in the notes, so I'm gonna say it.
What was that?
I'm telling you, it's like a compiler. You got to put the comment on it.
No, the point is the question. No, Dalton didn't read the remaining part of the question. So Christian wants to know because we have ongoing still problems with the video playback on Hammerhead, and basically camera is now fixed, I would say, but on the playback there is some codec issue or so. I don't know. It's still getting greenish colors. And he wants to know if this means, or if we would rather remove N5 from the core devices because of that. And of course, in my opinion, I would say no, because the N5 is a great device, and for sure it's not that we cannot make it work. It's just at the moment that this part is broken and somebody has to work on it. So by no means we are going to remove a core device just because the video playback has some intermittent issues. And it was already working before some time. So there must be a way back to fully functional, I would say.
Yeah, we decided to drop that issue from our to-do list for OTA 3 because we want to see what Xenial will do to it. And after Xenial, we will have the time to look at more hardware abstraction issues, more device-specific issues. After that, we will really be able to use a more normal workflow. At the moment, the work on OTA 3 was really difficult because we always had to say, okay, are we working on something on Xenial right now? Because a lot of work already has gone into Xenial. That's also why OTA 3 is so late. So, but now we will have to. We will be able to work a lot more consistent and be able to bring the new features and fixes quicker to the devices.
Okay, we do still have a lot of questions on Anbox. We've answered that. Okay, questions on snaps. Yeah, let's do those. So do we have a better idea of how snap support is going to go? I mean, we know that only the core devices will be able to run snaps because we need more kernel interfaces and things there. So when we do have snaps in the OS, only the core devices will get them. But we still don't really know what snaps are going to look like in Ubuntu Touch. And right now we're just kind of using clicks.
We will continue to support clicks, at least for the foreseeable future. On the one hand, we don't want to brick all the legacy devices that are out there at the moment. We will look into Snap integration once Xenial is a little farther down the development pipeline. But for the foreseeable future, clicks will continue to stay a thing, and then ideally at some point you will be able to install whatever you will be able to install. Snaps, Flatpaks, app images, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Anbox default with 1604 or 1604 before Anbox. Will Anbox even be default in the image?
No, it won't be the default. So if you don't want to see it, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to see it. Some tools, but really small ones, will have to be shipped with the image because because of the way the system is designed. But then you will be able to download an unconfined app. Let's call it the Anbox container manager or whatever, from the open store, and that will set up the Anbox container, and with that will also you will be able to install APKs, random APKs you download from the internet. We will look into packaging some Android apps as clicks and shipping them through the open store. So if you have Anbox then set up on the phone, those you will be able to install some applications directly from the open store, like F-Droid, for example. F-Droid is a free and open source application store for Android that we could then ship, and then people can install everything from F-Droid, basically. There are a couple
As
of
Marius has running right now.
Yeah.
I have F-Droid running. Yay.
Yeah. So that's one method how you will be able to install stuff. So you can just install a random APK. You can install an APK that will be wrapped in a click package and that you can just download from the open store, and you can install third-party stores. So there are a couple of ones. So F-Droid is the most popular one and probably the most useful one. Google mobile services are not that easy because they require some changes a little more deeper down the system, and we can ship that because it's proprietary and evil and from hell.
That wasn't on the script.
What?
We're still not scripted, or seriously. But
What's going on now? Guys.
But some other stores, like if you want other stores, like for example Amazon have one. Not that we encourage using Amazon, but if people depend on it, and it will allow them to use Ubuntu Touch rather than Android, with it should be we should allow them to use it, and of course you can do that.
You're free to do what you want. And
but again,
we'll try to support that kind of thing.
Exactly. But if you don't want to see Anbox, if you don't want to use any Android applications, you don't have to. So you won't see a thing.
Yeah. This is really an optional thing. If you don't want Android apps, as Jan said, you don't install it. So this is perfectly your choice. We are only giving your actual choice to do that. For many, this is huge because now they can actually switch because they have one or two apps they definitely need, and then they can use Anbox to actually get those applications.
Yeah, that's exactly why we made this decision. So we don't want to kill our own application ecosystem. Our goal is still to converge in the direction of normal GNU Linux. But convergence can go in multiple directions, and for mobile form factor, it does just make sense to support a kind of applications that runs on millions of other devices. And many people would like to use Ubuntu Touch but can't because they depend on WhatsApp, on Snapchat, on whatever, or really smaller apps, like apps that your local government provides that you have to use, or local car sharing services or something. It just doesn't make sense for our developers to spend time creating alternative clients for proprietary services that will probably get shut down as soon as they start working correctly. So just supporting Android applications in the system optionally makes a lot of sense.
Whew. Guys, we did it.
So the warm air is now in the room, and let's spread it to all the forums and all the news channels. So guys, please spread the word. It's
Right.
should be like kind of buzz going around the community, of course, and also if you can post this to somewhere else, we are grateful for any quotes and point them maybe to our pages. Maybe we will also be able to post something on the blog and so to have a reference with a press statement like thingy, like just a small text explaining everything.
Right. I saw that floating around. Do you have that still?
We wrote a draft already. Yes.
Okay.
We will
Excellent.
go over this one more time, and then we can post it onto our channels, social media.
So that'll
Twitter,
come on our blog within the day, I'm going to say.
So for everyone that wants to have a perma link, more or less to the content and to the facts, we'll post something. It was so super fast going for the last 2 weeks. We had no time to prepare everything like this. But we wanted to tell you today and not to delay it any further that this is really a thing now and starting to get in shape. Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone see any more questions?
There was just a question when there will be the first release candidate for 1604. I would say we don't know yet. Huh?
We don't know.
Well, there already are devil images.
There are devil images. You can install them from the installer, the UBports installer.
Yeah, it's on a different channel.
There's devil images to all the devices now. I think we need to stress that that happened. I added those yesterday. So now all of our devices can now install Xenial if you want. But keep in mind, Xenial is development only. What I'm just gonna say because I'm mind reader. So this is development only. It is not finished product. So expect bugs.
Don't install it on your daily driver. If you have a second phone, if you don't use Ubuntu Touch on a daily basis, you can try it out, of course.
Yeah.
And we are now at a point where we can really get the whole community involved, working on Xenial and helping us fix the remaining issues. The more people help, the sooner we will be able to make it the default.
So that's it.
Oh, there's my clock. There it goes again.
The clock tells us that it's time to come to the end of this community update, right? It's
yes.
1 minute
So thank you everyone so much for watching. This is where we'd put intro music if we had it, or outro. This has been episode 19 of the UBports Community Update, our biggest episode ever. Thank you everyone so much for watching. We have lots of social channels you can get a hold of us at. We have at UBports on Twitter, Telegram, at #UBports:matrix.org on Matrix. Firefox Clars running on Marius's phone. Social networks. I've missed some. I know I have. Mastodon. Diaspora? Is that still running? That's still running. Whew. We have a lot of them. So if you're on any social media platform, we're probably there. Get a hold of us.
And now you can.
What else do we have?
Now you can download a Twitter app on Ubuntu Touch and actually got a hold of it there. Okay, and also sorry everyone that we didn't range all the questions because there was a lot coming in now, and this episode was packed. So.
Thank you everyone so much for your support. If you'd like to support the project, you can find us on librapay.com/ubports or patreon.com/ubports. Thank you again for all of your support. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.